Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about The Conjuring. And the first Conjuring movie came out in 2013 and was directed by James Wan. So I know I'm way late to getting around to talking about this movie. But this was a movie my girlfriend had wanted me to see for a while. I had never really had too high an interest in the Conjuring movies in the past. And, that's because while I am a big horror fan, if you couldn't tell by the poster right there, or the Jason mask, hanging off, which you can't really see now, sort of kind of right, there. I don't understand. Anyway, I've just never been, too interested in, demon, possession, poltergeist, or, different types of genre horror movies like that. Although I'll watch, some of that kind of stuff in Supernatural or something. But the movies that have been just so, done time after time over the years just never really caught my eye. But with this one, I had heard good things about it. And, I gotta watch a movie my girlfriend wants to watch once in a while. So I gave it a shot last night. And overall, I thought it was a fine film. I didn't think it was great. Definitely didn't think it was terrible either. It was a little bit better than decent. I think it hit a notch for me that I was sort of pleased with. It was about on par with what I was expecting. Really, maybe a little bit above that. And I'm going to say it was a fine film, just not great, not terrible, but a bit better than okay, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But like I said, it was directed by James Wan, and it stars Patrick Wilson, along with Vera Farmiga. And the basic story is they star as Ed and Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigators and authors associated with prominent cases of haunting. The reports inspired an Amityville horror. The Warrens come to the assistance of the Perrin family, who are experiencing increasingly disturbing events in their farmhouse in Rhode Island in 1971. So that's the premise of it. And, that's pretty much it. It is pretty straightforward. It is a pretty simple setup and story. But what a lot of people praise this movie for was that sort of simplicity and how well it was executed. And for the most part, I agree with them. There is a good atmosphere throughout the movie. And, although I've seen a ton more, a ton of slasher movies and blood and gore and stuff, I still appreciate when a horror movie's greatest attribute is building suspense and an actual sort of intensity or scare. It's with as many horror movies as I've seen, it's been hard for me to actually get scared of anything, and besides loud noises when the volume's turned up a little bit too much. But there are still movies that can make me tense up for a little bit, or make me worry for the characters. And, while I appreciate the atmosphere and tone of this one, definitely has, an eerie vibe to it. I'll give it that. I did notice that. But I wasn't personally scared by it. I'm not trying to, bash the movie for that. Oh, I wasn't scared, so the movie sucked, But I didn't think any parts of it were too scary. There are a few, false scares or jump scares in it. But like I said, I do appreciate the tone given in the movie, the feeling throughout. And the fact that it doesn't really rely too much, there's really no blood or anything in it, it does try to build up a genuine sort of tension and sort of uncertainty, really. So I did appreciate that about it. And something else I was happy with the movie are, the two main characters, played by Patrick Wilson and, Vera Farmiga. They're not, your typical, haunting supernatural movie leads. A lot of times, like I said, these movies have been done a lot over the years, and a lot of times they'll just be regular people unfamiliar with what's going on, and they easily could have just done a movie like this and had the family in the house and have that be it. But you have the characters of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they have familiarity with it. They've built their life on it. And there's even some decent ties to what Lorraine's been through in the past of dealing with these types of things. So I like that our two main characters actually come from a perspective of experience, and so it gives us a different character dynamic or perspective to sort of see through. Instead of like these 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds running around like headless chickens. So I appreciated that, and Patrick Wilson's a fine actor. I thought he was pretty decent in Watchmen. I need to see more of his stuff. I think he is a fine actor. Vera Farmiga also did fairly well. And as far as the rest of the cast go, they're pretty average, pretty alright, I guess. But they didn't really need to be anything else, really. I did like the effects when we do see a glimpse of what this thing actually is. I think it looked pretty good. And like I said, it is simple. It is, it tries to strive in its simplicity, and it does in some cases, as I talked about. But because of that, and as well as other things, it does feel a bit familiar. We've seen movies like this a lot before. And like we've had your like Exorcist, things like that over the years and such. So it doesn't feel like very original. It feels like sort of just. It does still feel a little bit typical. Although, like I said, I appreciate how it's executed. But really, I've seen things like this. I don't know how many times in like a 40-minute episode of Supernatural. So I'm kind of like, okay, it's called the Winchesters. Wrap this up. This doesn't need to go on for an hour and a half. But not everyone can be Sam and Dean, but overall, I thought it was a fine movie. Like I said, there's nothing really wrong with it. There's just nothing incredible about it, minus the performances being fairly solid, with a decent tone throughout. There wasn't really any scares for me though, but I did appreciate the way it went about things as opposed to some of the other usual for the past few years, really, I guess. But yeah, there's not much more I have to say about it. Like I said, it was a fine film. If I had to rate it, let me just upload this photo. I always forget to do this now for some reason. But yeah, if I had to rate it, I would give it about a B-. I know some people love this movie. Some people are like apparently really, really scared by it. I wasn't, but like I said, I appreciated the way it went about, what kind of movie it was. But it just wasn't very scary for me, but it did have some redeemable performances, and like I said, it's still a decent tone throughout, some decent effects when there needed to be. And I am curious about seeing the sequel. I heard some really good things about the sequel as well, and I'm interested to watch more of Patrick Wilson and Lara Farmiga's characters. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the sequel at some point. So yeah. Let me know what you guys thought about this movie and the Conjuring movies as a whole, without spoilers, of course, along with the Annabelle stuff, because I guess I might check that out at some point too. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this one. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.